I just beat the Callisto Protocol for the second time over this weekend, and I didn't think it was a bad game. Now, of course, for sure it does have its flaws, but no game is perfect. I had a fun time going through it, but also with that came some very frustrating times. So I'm going to take you on a journey with me as we explore the secrets of Callisto and kind of give you my thoughts and opinions on the game. Now, before we begin, I'd like to point out that I played this on the PS5 with performance mode on and motion blur off. So, unfortunately, I can't really speak on the PC version, which at the time of me recording this, I'm hearing is having a lot of technical issues. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the story. So, our main protagonist is Jacob, who is a cargo ship pilot transporting cargo to Callisto along with his partner Max. Jacob goes to check on the cargo, and while he's doing that, they get boarded by a couple friendly folks, and things don't go so well. The ship crash lands on the moon of Callisto, and Jacob, of course, survives. However, we can't say the same for poor old Max.
Hey. Whoa! Jacob. Why didn't you listen? Hey, come on.
The crashed ship is then boarded by a couple of security droids and Captain Ferris from the Black Iron Prison that's located on the moon. They find Danny, a member of the crew that boarded the ship, and we find out that she also survived. Ferris is then ordered to bring them back into the prison as inmates.
Sir. Yes, sir? Whatever you say. Grab him, too.
Hey! What are you doing? Hey! I didn't do anything!
Once they get to the prison, get settled in, so to speak, things go horribly wrong. Jacob is able to get out of his cell, and he meets up with Elias, an inmate who has quite a bit of knowledge of this prison. He gives Jacob a shiv, and they work together to escape the prison. Jacob and Elias eventually make it outside of the prison, thanks to Ferris, who was very generous in giving them some fresh air.
Couldn't say it better myself. There's always a price to pay.
So they get sucked out of an airlock. Jacob and Elias get separated. Jacob finds Elias not doing so well. His helmet actually gets messed up, and due to the extreme atmosphere, Elias unfortunately dies. Shortly after, Danny finds both of them and rips out Elias's core, which is the device that's implanted on the back of everybody's necks, and then leaves Jacob stranded.
Hey!
No, I do too.
Hey, wait!
Where do you think you're going?
I'm a pilot! You need me!
Hangar's that way. Better start walking.
Oh, come on!
After some time, they meet up again, and they agree to help each other get off Callisto. Eventually, they end up driving back to Jacob's crashed ship, where Danny is looking for answers about an event that happened on Europa, which resulted in the death of her sister, as we'll find out later. Danny assumes that Jacob has something to do with this, being that he delivered cargo there multiple times before the incident.
Hey, What are you doing?
What's in here?
Medical supplies?
Bullshit. Open it.
Why?
Because I said so. And we're not going anywhere until you do.
Okay, fine. Yep, just like I told you.
But records show you made multiple drops right before the incident.
Me and a dozen other cargo ships.
Don't try to talk your way out of this. I know you were
I
involved.
had nothing to do with what happened on Europa.
What's wrong with you?
This implant is messing with my head.
This doesn't make any sense. But I'm gonna figure it out. In the meantime, you better pull it together. Someone's gonna fly us out of here.
They find out that it wasn't what she was looking for, and then they finally decide to get off Callisto, or at least try to. Once they arrive at the platform that the ship is to land on, the warden of the prison overrides the controls and destroys the ship, which of course prevents them from leaving.
What are you doing?
It's not me.
No. One must learn to accept what they cannot control. Still, I'm impressed that you made it this far. Perhaps you both have potential after all. Mr. Lee, Miss Nakamura, your journey was especially long. All the way from Europa.
What'd you say?
But I'm afraid there's just too much at stake here. And the protocol cannot be broken. So, though your story ends here, please know that you have my respect.
Wait. No. Never. Go. Go! Go! Go!
Jacob! Take my hand!
The explosion causes Jacob and Danny to end up in an old mining colony that Black Iron was built on top of. Now, with no escape plan, Danny wants answers and wants to head back to the prison. Jacob is, of course, reluctant at first, but not really having much of a choice, decides to go along.
This is Arcus.
What's that?
Arcus. The original colony. The one the prison was built on top of. There's an elevator nearby. We can take that to the transport hub, then cut across to the colony, and then back into Black Iron.
Back into Black Iron? No fucking way. We almost got killed just trying to get out of Black
This
Iron.
isn't about escape,
Then
Jacob.
what's it about?
Not anymore.
What's it about?
Answers! Why did the warden shoot down one of his own ships?
I don't know.
And how is it connected to Europa?
This is supposed to be just another fucking job. This is crazy.
I know. But what choice do we have? Come on. This area's not safe.
Making their way through the old colony, they find a lab there where we find out that Black Iron was built to experiment on the inmates. There, they were testing a virus that was found on Callisto, and it contained a form of accelerated evolution. They figured that they could reverse engineer it. Jacob then runs into Ferris once again at this lab, and he seems to have evolved.
As you can see, things have changed.
Jacob, I found the surface access door. I'm trying to open it.
They fight, and then Jacob and Danny narrowly manage to escape, but a parasite latches onto Danny.
Looks like it.
Jacob rips it off her face, but it's too late, and she's gonna start turning into one of those monsters. Trying to find a cure, They make their way back into the prison, but get knocked out by a couple of security droids.
It's the shoe. The whole prison's infected.
We should get the hell out of here.
Good idea. Warden's signal is still active in the command tower.
Can we make it to him?
Looks like it. I'm getting the door now.
Return to your cells.
Jacob wakes up back in his cell, and of course, he isn't very happy about that.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
And the doctor behind this experiment, Dr. Mahler, has Danny and can lead Jacob to them. Once he reaches Danny and Mahler, Mahler explains that the Warden is part of a group that aims to control human evolution, and that this virus that's turning everybody is the key to making that happen. Mahler also tells Jacob that they can synthesize a cure, but he would need a sample from the Warden's Alpha, who just so happens to be Varys.
Madness. His ridiculous protocol. During the original outbreak, a colonist known as Subject Zero demonstrated a unique ability to synthesize the biophage, to control it.
Yeah, I heard in the recording something about bigger, stronger.
The next phase of human evolution. Unfortunately, he was killed during the Arca's sterilization. Now, the Warden seeks to replicate the conditions of the original outbreak, hoping to recreate Subject Zero as Subject Alpha.
By releasing the virus into the prison?
As he would say, evolution doesn't happen in the lab, it happens in the wild.
No, how can he do this? There's no way he can cover this up.
He's not acting alone. He's part of a group. Dating back centuries, they seek to control the progress of human... She's waking. Be careful, Jacob. Once synthesized, the antidote will contain the only pure essence from his alpha. He'll want it more than anything. It's the key to all he seeks.
What about you?
I played my part in all of this as well. There's no escape for me. Black Iron is where I belong.
Danny wakes up and they head over to the Warden. On the way there, Jacob accesses Danny's memories and he finds out the truth about what happened in Europa. Turns out that he was responsible for what happened after all, as he turned a blind eye to the suspicious cargo that they were delivering.
Jacob! Let me go! Look at it! Look at it! What are you talking about? You see? Do you see?
Jacob, what do you got there?
What we got here is none of our business. Now, come on. We have a job to do.
This was our fault.
Lily! No, 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 no. No! Sorry. I tried to protect you. You didn't deserve that.
Europa wasn't a terrorist attack. They doctored the footage to cover up what they were planning to test at Black Iron. And the cargo that we transported played a part in both. I could have stopped this. But I didn't.
You made the wrong choice. Now how are you gonna make it right?
Jacob goes on ahead to confront the warden as he is having a meeting with a couple of mysterious figures.
Especially when the commonality is finally within our grasp. And right on time. He approaches. The survivor. Dear Solitarius.
Where's the Alpha? Just give me the goddamn antidote! I'm not gonna let her die.
Your friend. I've been watching you. You and your so-called friend. You're not the innocent you claim to be. You've proven that you'll do just about anything to ensure your own survival. The survivor.
And what about you, huh? Watching people die for fun? Is that your protocol?
No. You are mistaken, Mr. Lee. The protocol isn't about death. It's about life. Our future lies out there. Our destiny. But we were not built for life in space. This fragile shell holds us back. We have to evolve if we are to survive. And now, you'll all see why. Proof that my methods are worth the risk. A final contest to determine the true survivor. Humanity! Or my out.
Ferris shows up, they have a fight. Eventually, he turns again, he evolves again into a giant monster, and we have our final boss battle.
There's always a price.
Jacob defeats Ferris and takes the sample that's needed to cure Danny. And the warden, who's not actually there, seems to be, activates a self-destruct sequence, and Jacob and Danny run to the escape pods to get the hell out of there. They arrive to the escape pods only to find out that there's only one, which Jacob quickly pushes her into, seemingly sacrificing himself.
There's just one. I didn't, but I do now. I can't keep running from what I've done.
What are you talking about?
Sorry. For everything. I do belong here.
Don't do this. Jacob!
That transfer worked both ways. He learned more about me, and I learned more about him. In the chaos of the moment, I didn't realize he had also given me the evidence I was looking for all along. And sacrificed his life so that I could expose the truth. Was he trying to make up for the pain he caused? Or just chasing some kind of redemption? Either way, I hope he found some peace.
With all hope lost, Lala communicates with Jacob, telling him there's a way out, as Ferris, who we thought to have killed, shows up again jump scaring us, and cut to black.
Jacob, there might be a way out after all.
Reactor 4 temporary safety is activated.
But I'm going to need your help.
I thought the story was okay. It's definitely not on a level anywhere near close to The Last of Us or God of War Ragnarok or even Dead Space itself. And you know what? That's okay. I didn't need a dense 50-hour epic, and the story that was told, I guess, served its purpose. I beat the game in about 6 to 7 hours on medium difficulty, and I was actually kind of shocked when I realized I was already at the end. I had heard that the game was set to be 12 to 14 hours, so I'm not sure what was going on with that. I'm pretty thorough when I play games, so I like to check around every nook and cranny for supplies and collectibles. However, I'd love to hear how long it took you guys to beat the game. Let me know the difficulty you played on and whether you explored around or not. I thought that the voice acting and motion captures were pretty decent. They were okay. I know it sounds kind of silly, but it really did feel like I was watching a movie, like on Netflix or something like that. And I also noticed that the story doesn't really kick in until around the second half, as around the first half, it's mostly trying to get the hell out of the prison. So, moving on, now we're going to get into what I thought about the presentation of the game. This game actually looks amazing. It's some of the best graphics that I've seen this year. Callisto runs on Unreal Engine 4, so yeah, it's gonna look pretty good. With Unreal Engine 4 is gonna come some technical issues. So I'm aware that the game isn't playing well on the PC, and I've even heard that on the Xbox, the frame rate's not so good. So hopefully this gets fixed in a couple updates pretty soon. As mentioned before, I did play the game on the PS5 in performance mode, so we'll all get that glorious 60 frames per second. Well, most of the time. Performance mode on the PS5 works okay for the most part, and I didn't notice too many drops except for when I did. Man, when you notice the frame drops, you fucking notice it. Performance and graphics aside though, we must talk about the sound design, and it's some of the best sound that I've heard in a video game in quite a while. From the gross, slimy monsters crawling around in the vents and the walls to the machinery. I mean, just take a listen to how good this game sounds. Another thing that I found impressive is how good the haptics on the DualSense are. I know this is only limited to PS5, but I thought that this is something that I should point out. The UI, or lack thereof, is also okay. I like the colors and the fonts they decided to go with. It looks aesthetically pleasing. I do have a couple of issues with the UI, but we're gonna get to that next in the gameplay section. And now, probably the most divisive part of this game, the gameplay. Now, going based off of the trailers, you'd maybe expect it to be a lot like Dead Space as far as combat goes. You have a bunch of guns to shoot at your enemies and a melee attack that's not great, like at all, and a stomp attack to loot resources. But you'd probably be surprised to find out that Callisto focuses on melee a lot more than shooting and ranged attacks. But as far as most of the game, melee is encouraged. There is also that famous stomp attack brought in from Dead Space. The melee combat feels actually, weirdly enough, like Punch-Out. Where the enemy attacks, you dodge either left or right, then attack. There's a rhythm to the combat, and I love this about the game. However, I do have some gripes about the combat, and one big one is the dodge mechanic. Now, when you're fighting an enemy, you sort of lock onto them when you're hitting them, and to dodge, you move the left stick to dodge left, right to dodge right, and then you hold back to block. There's not really any timing required for it. You just need to be holding whichever direction before the attack. Now, for me, this works once you get the hang of it, but personally I would have liked for the dodge to be bound to one of the shoulder buttons, and you hold and move in whichever direction the enemy's going to attack. There are a total of 5 guns that you can collect and upgrade over the course of the game. They can also be used during a melee combo. For example, if you hit the enemy enough and stagger them, a reticle is going to appear on them, then you'll be able to aim and it'll snap to them for a quick shot. This does come in handy later when they start evolving into stronger forms. There's also a store system called the Reforge where you can upgrade your weapons as well as buying ammo and health using Callisto credits looted from enemies and lockers. Switching weapons can be a pain, however. So there's 2 gun types, a pistol type and a long gun type. Both have different forms that you gotta manually switch to, and it can be pretty stressful in high combat situations. Lastly, we have the GRP, or it's called the grip, which is pretty much like the kinesis in Dead Space. The grip can also be upgraded. I didn't use this as much as I should have during my first playthrough, but later on I used it much more. And it is pretty satisfying to use once you get the hang of it. One major gripe that I have with the grip though is that it is a little confusing for me to tell how long I could grab hold of an enemy. Frequently, I found myself grabbing an enemy only for the grip to run out of battery, then I drop them and then I take damage from them. To recharge the grip, you have to go into the inventory and manually use a battery pickup. I know it charges automatically over time, but during combat, you can't instantly recharge because once you go into the inventory to use a battery, well, you're fucking dead. Not sure why it couldn't be mapped to the D-pad along with the health injector. Also, one quick thing, why does the fucking healing animation take so long? You hold the button, Jacob goes into a kneeling animation, then uses the injector, and of course you can be attacked during all of this. I understand this was put in to, of course, add tension, and you want to heal when you have some downtime, but once again, you could forget all about that during combat. It's actually kind of similar to The Last of Us, where you take out a health kit and you hold the fire button, they heal. It takes a little bit, so it's kind of like that. I guess it, I guess it adds tension, sure, okay. I have only a few more gripes with the gameplay here. So the checkpoint system, oh my god, the checkpoint system. It can be very frustrating. The game is a bit tough, even on medium difficulty, so I died quite a lot during my first playthrough. And the system can be unforgiving sometimes, putting me back maybe 5-10 minutes. One really infamous example is the platform to Arcus, where you first fight the 2-headed dude, and then finally, the leeches and worms that jump out at you are the bane of my existence. I hate them more than anything else in the game. Sure, I didn't come across them much, but it's goddamn annoying when I'm trying to loot chests and lockers, and this shit happens. I know it probably seems like I don't like this game much with all the criticisms that I have about it, but I promise that I do. I think the Callisto Protocol is a good game, despite what a lot of critics and reviewers out there are saying. I actually had a lot of fun with this game, and it does feel like a throwback to games from the 2010s, but in a good way. Oh yeah, sure, there are definitely some shortcomings, issues, and some nitpicks that I have, but I think it's still a well-crafted game. You can tell that Strike and Distance Studios gave it their all. It's an impressive first effort, and I'm definitely looking forward to a sequel, especially after that goddamn cliffhanger. I recommend playing the game, whether you pick it up full price or wait for a sale. I don't usually give out scores, but I think I'm going to start out here. But if I were to give a score to this game, I give the Callisto Protocol a solid 7 out of 10. If you made it this far, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did like the video, please consider leaving a like, as well as subscribing for more content like this.